Hello, my name is Ivan Smirnov. Welcome back to Getting Started with Generative AI in Research. At this set of videos, we are talking about how GenAI can be useful at different stages of your research, and we will start with idea generation. I think you shouldn't expect that you just ask GenAI, please come up with an idea, and then GenAI suddenly return you something very novel, unique, high quality. So that's not how it works, at least at the moment. Maybe it will change in the future. However, GenAI can be a very powerful and very useful partner in your brainstorming. And so I suggest that you use it in this way. So now let's talk a bit more about this and let's move to some specific examples. One thing that I want to say is that, you probably shouldn't use what's called lazy prompts. So lazy prompt is just when you ask a direct question, direct request without providing any details. That's something that people call lazy prompts, and you probably wouldn't get any interesting ideas from that. For example, at one point I was experimenting with generating ideas for kind of master level project in my field, which is computational social science. So I just asked ChatGPT, come up with an idea for a master level project in computational social science. And its first response was something about political polarization on social media, and that's arguably the most boring possible question in our field, because one of the very first papers in our field was actually about political polarization on social media. So in this paper that was published in 2005, people were studying different blocs. It was kind of Republican and Democratic blocs, and how people reference each other, and they have found that there was this kind of strong polarization between right-wing and left-wing blocs. So, at the moment it was like very interesting result, but because there was so many follow-up work and they all kind of find the same thing, it's kind of boring project, and I would never suggest it maybe to a student to do something like that. And then I tried to push ChatGPT. I was saying, please come up with another idea, but make it more original, more novel, more unconventional. And I ended up with something like detecting ghosts. So I was able to push it to a completely supernatural territory. And somewhere in between there was something like, does full moon affect human behavior? And I think it's actually an interesting research topic because it's just a data science project. We're not trying to publish a serious paper, but it's a curious and fun topic. And also it's clear how you can do it. So you can collect, for example, data on accidents reports, like police reports, criminal activity, admissions to hospital, and all sorts of other publicly available data. Then you can correlate it with, full moon, and maybe you even find something, maybe not. But I think it's like a fun data science project to do, just to learn how to get publicly available data from the internet, how to perform statistical analysis. So I think its idea was quite fun, but I had to push ChatGPT for quite some time before I can get something like that. Another advice that I have is to use GenAI not as a source of ideas, but more like a creativity tool. For example, I have this thing. It's called It's called Creativity Story Cubes. And the Story Cubes is a creativity tool, and you have different cubes and they have kind of images. So I guess you can see. And let's say I need to invent a story for my son. It can be really hard to just invent a story. But the idea of these cubes is that you roll them and then you see a set of images, and now you start to create a story based on these images. And it's kind of limit your choice, but at the same time it helps you to actually proceed and to produce something. And there was a research that actually used an idea that I think is quite similar. So in this research, what they were asking participants is to write a short story. And they have three conditions. So in one condition it was human only. In another condition, there was also an idea generated by GenAI. So humans were free to use it or not to use it. So they were just given it as an inspiration. And in the third scenario, human was given 5 GenAI ideas. So they were writing stories. And after that, human evaluators was just evaluating it using different criteria. So this is an example of what was actually asked participants to do. So they were asked to write a short story about something. In this case, it was an adventure on the open sea. Another, I think, topic was something about jungles, and another about space. They were free to write anything they like. The story has to be really short. And it should be intended for people from 15 to 24. And here's an example of a story that was written by actual participant. So the authors of this paper, they make available their dataset, so you can read all stories that were generated by humans. If you want to read it, you can just pause this video. And also you can pause the video and to read another story. And this story was actually based on AI idea. So we don't know if it was based on this idea, but the participant was provided with this idea. And you can see that, AI suggested to write something about friends. And there was like 50 students who were probably friends, because why they would be, together otherwise. And also AI was suggesting to do something about menacing marine creatures. And there was a shark in this story, but otherwise it was kind of different. So who knows, maybe this AI idea somehow inspired this person and helped him or her, maybe not, we don't know. But that was kind of the experiment. And what they have found is that if you look at the novelty of the ideas, they were actually better when there was an input from AI. So this dashed line is a baseline. Baseline, it means just a human without any Gen AI ideas. The blue is for humans who had access to one Gen AI idea, and red is for humans who had access to 5 Gen AI ideas. So you can see that having one idea is better than baseline, and having 5 ideas is a bit better. So usefulness was more or less a proxy for quality. So for quality, they also see that the quality of stories was a bit better, and humans were saying that the stories are well written when humans had access to 5 Gen ideas, and less boring. So it seems that it worked, and it was useful for humans to have access to these ideas. However, what authors also have found is that these ideas are less diverse. So, for example, they were looking at how similar all stories that were generated by humans with access to one Gen AI idea, and the similarity was higher than to a baseline. So this kind of, in this Gen AI condition, the stories were more similar to each other, and they were also more similar to what Gen AI produced. So the potential explanation is that because Gen AI was not able to generate as diverse ideas, and humans were relying on Gen AI, that also made the ideas less diverse. So that was interesting evidence with respect to using Gen AI for generating ideas. So these stories, as you can see, is probably not something very useful, because it's just a very short story. There was another study that was studying something potentially a bit more useful. The idea here was to see how well Gen AI can come up with ideas for new products. And there were some restrictions, so this product should be targeted towards college students, and they should be no more expensive than $50. So this is just an example of an idea that's, in this case, a student generated. So something like convertible high heel shoe. So you have something that's a high heel, but you can remove this heel. And so students were creating these ideas for sort of competition. So they were actually motivated to create high quality ideas. And the ideas generated by students wasn't compared to ideas that were generated by Gen AI that was asked to come up with the same ideas. So the result of the study was that ideas that are generated by Gen AI, so you can see it here and here, were kind of better on average on quality than what was generated by humans. And quality was measured here by purchase intent. So you can then, blindly show these ideas to, again, evaluators and ask them, do you want to buy this or not? And that's how you measure, the quality of these ideas. They use 2 Gen AI conditions. In one, they just use a GPT-4 model, and then another, they provided the same model with a couple of examples of good ideas. So in the previous videos, we discussed that this approach is called few-shot learning, and that it can be very powerful. So and they see a slight increase in performance when they use few-shot prompting, but not very large increase. The difference between humans and AI was even more dramatic if you look at just top ideas. So this is a list of top 20 ideas, and you can see that it's dominated by GPT-4, and there's actually only one student in top 20 ideas. Unfortunately, they don't provide, authors of this paper don't provide us with access to actual description of these ideas, just the title, but I guess you can guess from the title what's happening. Also, you may discover that these ideas doesn't look like extremely novel, and that was not a condition of competition. So actually you can create ideas that's for products that already exist. And they in fact discovered that the ideas that generated by AI is rated as less novel than ideas generated by humans, and they were also more homogeneous. So we again kind of see this pattern of GenAI being a bit like more conservative in the diversity of the ideas that they generate. Another advice that I have with respect to generating ideas is that GenAI cannot be tied. So you can use it when you need to generate a lot of different options. You can ask it to generate not just one idea, but 20 ideas or even 200 ideas. And it also can be very useful when you need to generate like exhaustive or almost exhaustive list of options. For example, if you are designing a survey item, one thing that you want to avoid is to get responses like this when most of the participants actually selected an option that you didn't think about. That would be kind of disaster as a result. But it could be really hard to come up with all possible options, just, sitting and thinking about this. And that's why AI can be really useful. There's also a trick that I sometimes use is that instead of just asking to generate many ideas, I ask it to generate, across a certain spectrum. And I think I've already provided this example in this course. So for example, if I'm generating a text, I can say, just provide me 10 different options, starting with like extremely impolite and ending with overly polite, and AI do exactly like this, and then it's like I have a whole range of ideas and I can select something that fit my purpose. So the ideas that we discussed before, they were not actually research-related ideas, but there were some studies that were actually studying how well AI is in creating research ideas. So in the next paper, there was a human experts. They were asked to come up with kind of research ideas in natural language processing field. So they have 49 humans. They also have two conditions for AI. In one, there was just AI was generating ideas, and then AI was deciding which ideas are the best. And in the third condition, it was still ideas generated by AI, but now it was humans who were selecting the best ideas. And so they discovered that this last scenario actually was the best. So novelty was measured by experts, and the novelty score was the highest for AI plus human, and it was actually higher for AI ideas compared to just human ideas. So this model was not just a pure ChatGPT. The model actually had access to research papers and was kind of learning from research papers what's already known. So it was a bit different setup. And also what they did, they actually generated a huge number of different ideas. So they started with 4,000 ideas. As I mentioned, there is no restriction. You don't need to ask GenAI just to come up with one idea. And what they have found that overall quality of ideas was better only for this condition when it was AI plus re-ranking by humans. There was no significant difference for effectiveness and for feasibility of these ideas. For novelty, both AI and AI plus humans were doing better than humans. And for excitement of these ideas, again, AI and AI with humans were doing better. Because they asked AI to generate so many ideas, they were also wondering, is it really necessary? Or maybe, AI just start to generate the same ideas over and over again. And you, in fact, can see that there is some saturation. So, for example, to come up with 100 unique ideas. So in this experiment, they were removing ideas that were very similar. So to come up with 100 of unique ideas, you needed to generate 500 ideas. But if you want to come up with another 100 ideas, then you need, much more. You need like 3,500 more ideas because just so many of them would be duplicates. So again, we see this kind of problem that when you use AI, it usually provides a narrow range of ideas. But it seems that it's, again, better than just humans. And also it seems that collaboration between humans and AI is the most productive. So, and then authors of this paper were trying to investigate a bit more, why AI evaluation is bad, because knowing that AI plus humans perform much better than just AI, it seems that this evaluation part is not working well. They look at consistency that human reviewers have, and they provide some data for top computer science conferences. So if you just randomly rating ideas, then the consistency between two human experts would be like 50%, just chance. In their settings, in their own experiment, the consistency was a bit high, 56, and at top conferences like 66 and 72 respectively. So when you have consistency of 72, it seems like humans kind of know what they are doing. At least they kind of agree that high quality ideas are this set of ideas. And when they look at how well there's a consistency between humans and AI, they see that for many models, just equal to chance. For some of them, a bit more than chance, and for some of them, it's like even less than a chance. So it means that the ideas that are high rated by humans are lower rated by AI tools. Yeah, so it seems that at this point, just AI evaluation is really bad. So we have seen that in some cases, GenAI is actually able to provide ideas that are better than those that are generated by humans. But we also have seen evidence that the combination of GenAI and humans can be really powerful. You can use GenAI to inspire you, or you can use GenAI to generate ideas, but then to evaluate them. So my general recommendation would be not to blindly rely on ideas by GenAI, but instead use it to brainstorm, to connect different ideas, to provide a framework for thinking, to suggest counter arguments to what you are thinking. And I think if you use it as a partner, you can become a better thinker. So that's all, and I see you in the next video.